I don't know if you've realized that in that march, which happened in Durban, happened in Joburg and Pretoria, majority of the people that were in that march were men. And not just men, but Zulu men. I'm raising this because majority of men in general in South Africa are absent fathers. Majority of men in South Africa are not paying maintenance for their kids. Why am I saying this? The shops which were destabilized in Durban, in Tshwane, and Joburg, be it owned by Ethiopian, Bangladesh, Pakistani, and so on and so on. They employ our sisters, our cousin sisters, and so on. Because yes.
I've been seeing a lot of posts made by Black South Africans endorsing Peter Gondewald, the leader of the Freedom Front Plus, as the next candidate to run for presidency in South Africa. So these are people who are basically saying, listen, we see Ramaphosa and his...
Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? So the march to march that was held in Durban, Johannesburg and Pretoria is actually affecting South Africa economy right now. They were shutting down shops of foreigners, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Malawians, Ethiopians. It's affecting, and mind you, majority of those people that were protesting, you all were men, right? We saw how men were dancing. They were doing they will be singing and they were dancing. Guess what? This South African man says, most of South African men are absent fathers. They don't even take care of their children. Can you imagine that? Imagine they have been protesting for 2 weeks. Every day they're on the street. Where do they work? When do they work? They don't even have time to work, to take care of their children, to take care of their family. Guess what? This is where Nigerian comes in. This is where foreigners come in. When their women see their men, what they are doing, they don't go for their men. They prefer foreigners. They prefer Nigerians. They prefer to get married to Nigerian men, because Nigerian men in their country are so hardworking. Nigerian men knows how to take care of them. They come online, they talk about it. They even go as far as saying South African men very tiny. I'm not the one that said it, but they used to say it on social media. This is very, I don't know, because I've never seen a South African man, but I think that one is a lie. I'm just saying it, maybe it's a lie, because anyway, I'm just kidding, okay? You see, South African men, majority of them are absentee father. Imagine, those were men. They don't even have jobs, but they want the government to give them job. How? You people cannot open businesses. Now, guys, guess what? They want Peter Gunove to become their president. That's it. Me too, I'm also supporting him. I'm also supporting Black South Africans. Just as you people cannot vote for Julius Malema, we will support you people. Whatever you people say you want to do, we are going to support you people. But mind you, the economy, your economy is not even run by South Africans. Your economy is run by foreigners in your country. Imagine attacking foreigners. Your economy crashes down. When you praise foreigners, more foreigners will come. Your economy will boom. It's not only foreigners that will be benefiting. You guys will also be benefiting as well. Anyway, guys, are you new on my channel? If you subscribe or not, if you haven't, don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel, like and drop your comment. You can also show me love by joining my membership. Guys, please take a look and watch this video.
South African men, we don't own means of production, we don't own shops, we don't have 500,000, like Bakalam Taka just said, of owning a tech shop. Then what happens to these women who depended on that 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 that they get from working from these supermarkets that are owned by Urban Bookfig? So this man, what, they must just starve with their kids because some man who doesn't pay maintenance for their kids are roaming the street? These women must just suffer now, this man, because some men, we've got ego, I'm roaming the street, trying to find a solution for something that they don't even have the know-how to solve. It's a pity that South African women are going to be the one that are suffering this after this whole thing.
ANC, but we believe the Freedom Front Plus is going to be the next political party, regardless of how many seats they occupy by the way in parliament, regardless of whether they make 2/3 majority. But the fact that we looked at Peter Gondewald and we said, that's the guy. So I'm not even going to, I'm going to try to be as apolitical about this as possible, as much as possible. I'll try to be as objective, but at the same time, I know I might miss the plot here and there. But this is what's actually concerning me. The people who are pushing this narrative are the very same people who probably don't have any in-depth understanding of how governance works in our country, who do not understand the expressions of freedom that are made in the very constitution that governs them in South Africa today. But let's put that aside. That's a different conversation we had yesterday about, the Constitution, Chapter 9, Institutions and Defense of Democracy in our country. What actually concerns me here is these are people who've actually not even done research on Pieter Groenewald. Not him as an individual, but his political party, because our election model in South Africa is party listing. It's not candidate based, right? So it means the majority party, any party that's going to contest the elections is going to go on conference, and then they're going to nominate an individual who's going to be the face of those elections. And then, in this case, it's going to be Pieter Groenewald, because he stands for the Freedom Front Plus. He's the leader. So to all of you who are endorsing Pieter, have you taken time just to do a bit of research? I understand some of you maybe were quite young, especially during the EFF, when the emergence of the EFF back in 2014. I mean, they won the elections. That's when they became the third biggest political party in South Africa. To perhaps just read the manifesto of the Freedom Front Plus, number one. Number two, have you taken time just to check? Because Pieter van der, that's why I'm calling van der Groenewald. Pieter Groenewald has been very vocal on a number of occasions that he represents, and his party, minorities in South Africa. And you, my dear friend, as a black person like me, you don't form minorities in South Africa. You are part of the majorities. That is us black people, right? So there have been a number of occasions where he has been quite expressive that he is not for social and economic inclusivity. He has spoken loudly about affirmative action being anti-rich, BEE policies and all of that. But then also, I remember one time he stormed out of Parliament when there was this entire conversation about expropriation of land without compensation. And he said, in his words, should that happen, that land is expropriated without compensation, there's going to be a civil war in our country. And you, my dear friend, you're on the other side of the conversation as a black person. But then not only that, Peter has been quite defensive, in this entire conversation about Orania. He has been quite vocal about the protection and the preservation of Afrikaner history, regardless of the many layers of the conversation, especially involving you as a black person in our country. Now, again, I said I'm going to try to be as apolitical as possible and try to center this conversation on freedom, the freedom to vote, which you have. All those are expressed in the Freedom Charter. All those, are enshrined in the Constitution, that you've got a right to nominate a party of your choice and to vote for whoever you want to vote for. But lest we forget history, Pieter and his party are very clear in their manifesto. And for those of you who have not taken time to go and read the manifesto of the Freedom Front Plus, please go read that manifesto. And then sit back, have your tea and biscuits, and ask yourself, as a person of color, does this party represent me? Is Pieter really going to get here and whoop out his magic wand and Adakadabra, everything is well and good in South Africa? Again, I'm not trying to direct which political party you can vote for. I mean, we've got a number of political parties in South Africa, opposition parties more especially. You've got the DA, which is the biggest opposition party. You've got, after that, the EFF. You've got your MK. And then you've got these small opposition parties. And that's where you're going to find your IFP. You are going to find your FF Plus, Peters. And then you're going to find your Action SA, right? And many others. So you, as a person, knowing very well, living post-1994, knowing very well what apartheid did in our country, you sat back with your frustrations of the current administration, and I know your frustrations are very valid. You sat back and you thought, we need a white savior. That's what we need. We need an Afrikaner savior who by profile and other means represents the very same thing that oppressed us pre-1994. I'm actually concerned by this mentality amongst us as black people, that we are waiting for a savior. And in our times of calamity and political tension, and where we feel the current administration is not doing well, we resort and we say, bring back the perpetrator, take us back to Pharaoh, take us back to Egypt. And then maybe it was better there.